All right, let's dive into it, huh? So this is a variation of Mono Black Control, which I already had a Mono Black Control deck in my deck editor, so I've got this one tagged as Mono Black Artifacts. We have a variation of this up on the website. I kind of like what this build looks like it's doing overall, though, compared to the one that's up on the site currently. So the one that's on the site was something that we were playing when Field of the Dead was still legal, and I think this build is probably a little bit better suited against like the blue-white control decks that have been going around. So they've got a little bit extra card advantage in the form of artifacts here. We've got Karn, the Great Creator, as kind of a tutor package out of the sideboard. This build is notably not playing Mastermind's Acquisition, which the build on the website is playing. So I'm interested to see how Karn feels versus some of those other things. Karn static text, obviously very good against Bolas' Citadel when that deck is running around and popular still. So let's go ahead and pop on into some games here with this and see how it goes. How are you doing, annoying family?
We came to annoy you.
I can tell. How is our daughter? Sleeping.
And
I can't pick Declan up, he's too heavy. You're too heavy, Declan. You're a giant kid. Orphan Guard, so probably a control matchup. Now, an interesting question here is, so like when we're playing the control matchup, do I prioritize scrying with the tome, or do I prioritize paying mana and drawing cards? Maybe depends on what the game state looks like. Yeah, it's probably card draw in this matchup, I have to imagine. So I think we're still pretty far off of Ugin. So I think I play this and just start drawing cards with it here, assuming it resolves. Jeff Pear, thanks for the Court of Fury. Appreciate that. Welcome back. Creamy McCrunch. Started playing Runeterra because of the streams. I really didn't think a card game could be so cheap. Magic has hurt me. It's funny because it's true. Alright, so definitely playing Field of Rune. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Creamy. Am I fielding Castle Locthwain? I feel like the answer is probably no. I feel like I kind of want to sit on this until... they have an Azcanto or a White Castle. Don't they have another Illumination here? Nope. So we're at 6 mana currently, so we're 2 off of this. Not that it's likely to resolve. This is probably one of the best draws in our deck here. Greatness at any cost, chat. Any cost. Not at some costs, any cost. Pretty sure I'm not running Ugin into Censor. I don't think I'm paying 6 to draw a card, he says, after just having done his any cost bit. Normal Trent, thanks for the 6 months. Welcome back. Karn is our best draw versus them if it resolves. I mean, most of our bombs are good if they resolve. So we think Karn's better than Ugin. So I'm gonna bait with the Ugin then. why not field their castle? Because I'd rather prioritize, I only have 2 Field of Runes, and Castle Vantress is a lot less good than Castle Arvindale or Search for Azcanta. So I'd rather prioritize saving this for those. Okay, so with Teferi in play, do I prioritize... Okay, so I was gonna ask, do we prioritize Murderous Rider or Karn? Now hopefully we can Thoughtseize and do both. We have 4... Scatter, Wrath of God, Seal Away, Golem, Seal Away. So this just doesn't matter. I'm gonna take a Shark Typhoon here because it kills me. That nice awkward control game 1 where neither player has particularly good things to be doing. I'm gonna lead on this and see if they scatter me. They might. Okay, and now that they've scattered me, I think I actually downtick this Karn here to start. Because I don't really want to exile the Ugin. I want to draw it next turn. So I think getting a Dork into play sounds great. We're gonna have to like work through these at some point eventually anyways, and the loyalty on this isn't really relevant at the moment. Hit me, dealer. It's not bad. Seal me away, baby. You got it. Hey, Rabner, thanks for the 39 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Bolt your dome. My flames burn beyond perception. I should update the stream decker. Good call. What's going on, Boulder? Thanks for the 13 months. Welcome back. Hit Mythic with the red-black Pyromancer list from the last 2. Sweet, Mr. Maple Syrup. Thanks for the 25 months. Welcome back.
Let's take it back.
Okay. Broke Sander. Thanks for the brand new Prime Support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. So, we're in like a pretty good spot here, right? I get to down-tick Karn, grab Murderous Rider. I get to Languish their board. We get to Rider, Teferi, we get to, and I tapped off my black mana. Dang it, auto tapper. I was going to cast this, but I wasn't paying attention to the auto tapper and it got me. It actually works out okay. Maybe I should have prioritized. Maybe I should have prioritized doing this before they got to memory.
This is hardly my worst.
Thanks, Brox. I appreciate you dropping the prime off. If it wasn't for prime support like that, I wouldn't be here making stuff. So thanks for keeping me around. All of the 2-mana artifacts belong to me. My opponent's gonna like untap and like cast Cleansing Nova and just like slide us off our chair. Peak blue-white control is drawing a new hand of 7 cards and then immediately needing to draw 2 marks. You still don't have anything to do. Yeah, I don't know. I can't decide if the memory was good or bad for us. I feel like it could go either way.
I'm not going to sit this one out. No time for a break.
So we'll scry with Treasure Map and then draw with Mazemind Tome. Looking for like Thoughtseize here. Murderous Rider's not bad. That's a card that could bait a counterspell out of their hands here potentially for us. Ooh, maybe I should scry at my upkeep there. Very possible. Let's start. My sequencing here is a little all over the place. There's a lot of micro choices we could be making here. And I'd be very surprised if we're making them all optimally. Mr. Polite and Evan, welcome back, folks. Thanks for keeping me around. Ooh, they're not giving us the mana. That's fine. I already played a land for the turn. So let's lead on Murderous Rider. I think my threat sequencing here is Murderous Rider into Karn into Ugin. So if I do this, I have enough mana still to play Ugin around Censor, right? Because I have 4 Mind Stones and then 6 other lands. So I'm going to lead on this before Ugin because this could get vetoed. And I prefer that this get vetoed as opposed to this getting vetoed. Ha. That resolved. Okay, before I make a decision here, I'm going to play Ugin. Because if Ugin doesn't resolve, I'm going to use Karn to make one of my artifacts attack. Hey, Jake. Thanks for 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Okay, so now we just -5, right? Maybe I could attack first there. I don't want to get this, like, Brazen Borrower or Bounced or something random. Yeah, it's exactly like Cataracts in the man base. You can activate Golos. So 3 of their Tefris are exiled, 2 of their Shark Typhoons are gone, so we're basically just whittling them out of win cons. If you would draw a card, except for the first one you draw during your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. Alright. Operation Deck Them is now engaged. We're going to start cycling off these Mind Stones. They've got Blast Stone in play. Do we want to use the field? Like, do I need to use the Field of Root? Do we think that's necessary? I think I'm just going to, like, get my Scry on with this. I can, like, flip this over. Are we fielding this? Let's get a feel for how much mana we have here to start. We're gonna play like a match and a half in 90 minutes with this deck, aren't we? It's like 15 minutes into game one. How much mana do we have? Yes, is the answer. Their hand actually just doesn't do anything. Oh. So again, like, and this is the thing about Magic control decks, is like, it's objectively wrong to play things like Torment of Hailfire because you just don't need them. Like, you shouldn't play Torment of Hailfire because it's game theory optimal to slowly kill your opponent over the course of many, many turns. Like, it is objectively wrong to put a win condition in my deck like that. Should not play a win condition like that when I can just play more answers. If you're interested in ending games of Magic, this is not the deck for you. Grind him out over the course of dozens of turns is the goal. And you could have separate discussions / arguments about whether or not that's like good gameplay or like gameplay you want to encourage, but like very confident that game theory optimal gameplay with this deck is don't add win conditions. You're making your deck worse if you do. So Duress comes in here, Languish comes out, and Erebos' intervention comes out. I think is about it. We'll leave one in to randomly hit their graveyard. Most of the sideboard is an artifact tutor package for Karn. I think the only artifact we're probably boarding inconsistently is we've got 3 cages here. So 2 to 3 of these will come in some matchups depending on what we're doing. Yeah, and I'm honestly not sure, Stegall, like, what that looks like in Magic, right? Because, like, I think Dream Trawler is a really good example. Like, when Dream Trawler was spoiled, I thought Dream Trawler would be a card that these control decks would actually want to play. But as things played out, that became apparent it's not the case, right? So I don't have a good solution to that offhand. To like have these control decks not have garbage time, basically. Because I don't know what optimal looks like in that sense. Alright, so I think I'm Murderous Ridering this Narset before it can Impulse again. I think this lets me put down a 2/3 to start attacking them. So post board, the texture of these games tends to be pretty different because both players will pull out a lot of their cards that are otherwise bricks. So like this card is a lot more likely to go the distance post board than it is to go the distance pre-board. Another thing you'll note how my sequencing with my lands here, I'm going to prioritize not playing this Field of Ruin until the last possible second because I don't want them to be able to field my field before I can field their Sorcerous Spyglass. See, look at that. And the opponent's just like, 2/3 lifelinker. Nope, I'm tapping out. This is post board. All my Wrath of Gods and my Seals of Ways are in the sideboard. 2-3 busted, please nerf. And like, games like that, Magic is such a tough spectator sport, right? Because like, trying to relay why an opponent's willing to concede in a spot like that where the boards look like they do to someone sitting at home that's new to the game is like really tough. I think that's one of the things I see quite often in feedback from newer Magic players are like, well, Jeff, you concede too early. And my favorite question to them when someone tells me I concede too early is, can you explain to me the series of plays that need to happen for this game to be a win for me where you think I conceded too early? And 9 times out of 10, when they like write out what they think needs to happen, they start to realize that like, oh, what needs to happen for me to win this game is so incredibly unlikely. Yeah, you probably should concede there. This is what our cages are for. Pharaoh, do you leave a cage in the board or do you board all 3 of them in? I feel like there's a chance that carning for cage is too slow here and I just want to board all 3 in. Is my opponent, like, they just like whip their willy out on stream? Is that legal to show on Twitch? Am I gonna get in trouble for that? So this board, obviously not worth languishing. Probably gonna play Mazemind Tome and draw a card next turn. Mazemind Tome, not Mazemind Tome, whatever this card's called. Yeah, it's like what? It's 3 versus 5, so you're gaining a virtual 2 cages by leaving 1 in the board, but like that means 3 of your cages suddenly cost 5 mana. Curtis, thanks for the 26 months. Welcome back. Second match, Aaron. Usually I go live about 11 a.m. or a little before. Was live a little bit early the last couple of days, but gonna go back to 11 a.m. start times here consistently. Morning, Misha. All right, and this will let me know if I need to languish this turn. So I think that hand reveal actually means I wait, because this way if they spike a land, I can Erebos' intervention if they only... So our hope here is that they hit 1 haste goblin, or 0, and then I can kill it before combat and then untap and languish. Alright, and we had happen exactly what I wanted to have happen. So I get to do this for 3 on Chieftain. Their goblins no longer have haste. We take a hit for 5. We untap. We sweep the board. I have a land drop lined up here already. So I think I'm going to hold on to this for now. If I didn't have a guaranteed land drop, I think I'd scry. But with the Cascading Cataracts here, we just play that. Goodbye, friends. Yeah, we only have 2 sweepers in our main deck, Pharaoh, so I have to imagine this matchup's not great. Obviously not unwinnable as this current game's showing, but, like, Ugin's like a sweeper. He's really slow. Generally speaking, he's not good enough here. We are probably going to get to steal game 1. Stealing game 1 and then getting to board in cages and cries probably means we're a favorite in the set. Okay, sick. And there's a Karn, so if they're going to get another Muxus here, I'm going to get to go Karn Cage. Interesting. Okay, so I have 6 mana total here. Still Karning. Am I... How do we feel about make a 2/2? They got Goblin War Chief. How do we feel about make a 2/2? I think I'm into it. I think I'm into it.
Allow me to introduce you to a friend of mine.
It's bad against exactly draw Muxus off the top, but otherwise good, I think, here. Yeah, correct, Sarek. If the opponent had hit 2 Haste Goblins with the Muxus, we would have died and it wouldn't have been close. Stupid Magic Arena and its stupid steps. So I can't Karn, and I can't make a 2/2 and a Cage. So gotta go get Cage here.
My purpose is greater than myself.
Do I gotta get Cage here? Alright, I'm gonna let Pharaoh decide since it's their deck. Do I get Cage or do I just Platinum Angel them? They've already gone through 2 Gem Palms. I'm gonna get Cage and we'll get Angel next turn. Maybe. Probably just casting a Giant Intervention this turn. Yeah, I think Cage is a conservative play. I can like cast Intervention plus draw a card. And this is about to gain us a bunch of life here as well. You have a 6 mana 4/4. Enjoy.
Fencer.
Alright, so then this is a concession Ugin, right?
I will endure.
I don't know what we're looking for, but I've already got a Karn, so...
Unutilized knowledge.
Goodbye, friends. How's this deck been? So far, so good. Yeah, I think I'm on team board in the cages. Is about where I'm at. What are we trimming? If I'm boarding in the cages, I think I can just cut this card. Maybe I like leave 1 in. Because like getting Platinum Angel on occasion is fine still, but I think I'm on board in the cage plan. 1 to 2 of these is easy to trim. Treasure map's probably slow. I like that this one can scry without a mana investment. Languish is obviously great. Golos could be a cut. It is card advantage though at the top end of our curve, which is nice. We're only on 25 land, so I don't think I can cut a land. Normally, I'd be like, cut the Bojuka Bog in a matchup like this, but I don't think you can ever cut a land in this build with only 25. Is it crazy to cut Chromatic Lantern? If I do that, what do we think? What do you think of that? It's like trim a touch of top end, cut the lantern. This leaves us with like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 win cons basically. Yeah, it should be plenty. Rider's expensive and slow. I actually really like Rider. I think, right, so Rider helps us not lose the games where we draw Grafdigger's Cage. I think is pretty important. Both killing, yeah, the blocking on Rider is really important. I think is the key takeaway on that one. I think there's a lot of games against goblins where you just like cast Murderous Rider as a 2/3 and it's just like you don't use it as a removal spell. Cause it's a sneepa keepa do 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 sneep papa keep papa do 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 do. What did I use my graveyard for? What did I... Did we use my graveyard last game? I'm thinking now. I'm like racking my brain for like what we used the graveyard for. We did not a once, right? Okay, good. And like, not only did we not use the graveyard, but like we had 4 mana Karn in our deck, right? So like even if we did it, like turns this off. Yeah, maybe they misclicked during sideboarding. Very possible it's just a misclick. Arena happens. I was just like, did something happen last game that I missed? His opponent just shamed timing out because they boarded in Crypt. Yeah, maybe. Oh, Magic Arena. Hey, good morning, Click. Happy Saturday. My days of the week are starting to have some structure to them again. Because the kids have school Monday through Friday again, so it's becoming easier to keep track of what's happening when now. I have a little bit of distinction. Hey, thanks for 7 months, Coley. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you joined the Runeterra stuff. Me too. The split's been good. Varieties of spice of life. Magic standard format still in the pooper. It was funny to see, man, I can't figure out what kind of commentary there is that, like, Magic standard format has experienced so many bans, but, like, it still isn't playable, right? Like, it's still just a flaming pile of dumpster. Like, it's really an indictment of the last year, I think. Channel Fireball's running a historic tournament today. They're not using MTG Melee for some reason, though, so it's going to be difficult to access data about it. Star City Games just announced that their next weekly qualifier is going to be historic. The next Invitationals, the upcoming Invitational is historic. So, yeah, definitely off a standard on this channel till rotation happens. We really, and something that I've seen going around a lot, we really, and I agree with, we really need another Mercadian Masks, is what we need. Which, for people that weren't playing 4 decades ago, Mercadian Masks was basically this huge power level vacuum. And, like, the problem with the Mercadian Mask style set is it means you're printing cards that don't have an impact really until rotation happens. Because you have to pull the power level down so much that the cards don't really impact the current standard format. Hey, Armadrojo, thanks for the 22 months of support. I really appreciate that, Prime. Welcome back, and thanks for keeping me employed. Grinko's very scary. The games you lose against goblins when you have Grafdigger's Cage on almost always involve this card. Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem, Jake, and why we there's a good chance we don't see it is a Mercadian Mask style set hurts short-term profits.
You may regret that choice.
I think I have to cycle this Mind Stone, right? Like, I can't let them untap with Krenko or we're gonna die, so I need to try and find a Murderous Rider. Thoughts on fielding Castle before they untap? Do you think that's better than digging for Murderous Rider? Hey, cool guy, thanks for the Prime support. Been lurking since the Kiki Cord days. Let's get you a sword for supporting for a year, and that's a long while. So if I kill the castle, let's say my opponent plays 1 goblin next turn, that means they're making 5 more goblins, and they attack me for like 6. Okay, I don't care. I don't hate killing the castle. Yeah, let's do that. Let's kill the castle, and then play the Mazemind Tome, and we can scry a little bit. I mean, there are a lot... Whether or not a set's good or bad is often pretty subjective, Ryom. There are a lot of people that genuinely enjoyed, like, the Rebel themes and stuff like that for Mercadian Masks. It could have also been possible, if this was my plan this turn, that maybe I should have just down-ticked Karn and made another Golem. I think the opponent might be having connection issues or something. Yeah, I agree, Steel Dingleberries. I actually like, I like Eldraine a lot, too. I think if your powerful cards are like the adventure cards, I think the adventure cards actually create pretty good gameplay. Yeah, I agree, Evil Moss. I think if there's any change coming from the last year, I'd be surprised if it happens in the short term. There's a sad Golos that gets a basic. I think they're gonna time out, but Anima, thanks for the 17 months. Welcome back. I appreciate it. Are they griefing us? They should have exploded by now, right? I can't tell if we're getting griefed or not.
Say hello to my little friend.
They must be disconnected. I feel like if they're griefing us, they would have activated their Krenko at least. It feels like it says something about Arena's disconnect timer that I play the application as a job, and I don't know exactly how it works. Alright, they're just disconnected, I guess. Oh, good dog. I mean, it can't possibly be less playable, Wild Banana. For the record, I think mid-range was super playable when field was legal. Had a lot of mid-range decks that were very reasonable and successful. They just had to play evasive tools, evasive threats, or a way to jump over zombies. Or have some kind of combo kill, like the Abzan Veto deck. Let's draw a third land, Is Sultai Uro mid-range? It depends on who you ask. Uro is here until he stops selling packs. That's very likely accurate. Alright, all in. Nailed it. Never didn't have it. I hear the Mac release has been pretty bad. I mean, I'm sure mobile will definitely go better than that. Yeah, use the submission forum, Stiggy, and just put in the comment. Put in the comment what it's for. I appreciate you checking out the sponsor. Secure that connection. Yeah, I think, like, as good as Ugin is in this matchup, I'm pretty sure we're just giving him up here. And I'm just going to get a Game 1 Grafdigger's Cage, which will probably prompt a concession. How well Arena and Mobile manage board states with 10 plus creatures on each side? That's a problem for Arena's engineers to figure out, not a problem for the executives making promises they can't keep to figure out. Come on now.
Some solutions must be.
Never mind, just supposed to play a 2-3 here.
I am proud.
As a software dev, very true, yeah. It's not filing that with the person that promised Magic Arena on mobile filed that one under solidly not their problem. What about Arena on the Switch? The Switch is such a great console. My children have to grow up in post-COVID times, which is a little bit sad, but in a lot of ways, their childhood is a lot fancier than mine. I would have killed for a device like the Switch as a child. I guess I just Languish here, since they're killing my only threat anyways. Well, this is 1/3 trample with no other text. It's very nice. Very nice. My two older children have mine and Christy's previous cell phone. So Jacob has a 1+5 and Declan has a 1+6. Because Christy has a 7 and I have an 8. The baby needs a cell phone too. I think she's gonna be okay. I don't think Karn's really finding anything useful at the moment. I'm just gonna try and draw land. So the one thing that having children definitely made me realize, talking about NES and SNES games that get made today, man, I am so glad that, like, game designers figured out at some point that, like, making games difficult isn't good content necessarily. Like, playing those older games, they are, like, difficult to the point of being tedious in a lot of ways. Like, I tried to get the kids to play some of the older games, and just, like, the way in which they're brutal basically just as a means of extending playtime is rough. They haven't aged well. Yeah, difficulty was a way to artificially inflate playtime, for sure. This is the way I play with my food, play with my food, play with my food. This is the way I play with my food. Do, 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 do. I'm gonna get Bog here just in case they have like a main deck of Braid or something. Yeah, I don't think there's, like, looking at this game, asking myself how do we lose, it's definitely like they have a main deck of Braid or Bedevil or something. What do we play recently with the kids? Yoshi's Crafted World is what I've played a lot with the kids. It definitely has difficulty settings. Has an easy mode. Hey! Hey, look at that! That's a main deck of Braid, chat! That was a main deck of Braid before that concession. Now, contrary to how we boarded against goblins, this is not a matchup where I want to board in all my cages, because 5 mana cage off of Karn is going to be fast enough against the mid-range graveyard deck. Something that's a little counterintuitive here, but I think is correct to do, is you should cut your Thoughtseizes against these black-red decks a lot of the time. These black-red decks are very frequently going to be getting on board, and you want more things that play to the board. So bringing in things like Cry and Moment of Craving are ideal. Yeah, they also play out of the graveyard. Need 2 cuts here. What do we want for our last 2 cuts, chat? Cut a lantern on a map? Sure. I don't hate it. Yeah, the various artifacts seem like the fine trim around the edges cards. It's really nice. It's really nice that with the addition of Cataracts, we can skimp on Lantern now and still play Golos well. Hey, Pipstar. Thanks for the 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Cage the Lurrus. Not as catchy as Cage the Elephant, but it'll do in a pinch. Has Mazemind Tome been better than Treasure Map? I think Mazemind Tome is better in the aggressive matchups, and the aggressive matchups are what you would prefer to hedge with a deck like this. Yeah, big agree that we're just gonna grab Golos here so we can ramp next turn. So we'll Golos next turn, and then we'll get to Ugin the turn after, most likely, as long as we don't get Thoughtseized. Karn to, like, search Golos, soak 4 damage. Sounds great. Hey, look, a distraction!
I will be better prepared next time.
Unfortunate that we have to pay 3 life here, but it is what it is. We'll see if we can fade Heartless Axe / Bedevil on the Golos here. This is really good for them. Would love to draw Cry of the Carnarium or Languish here, obviously. You like the 2 Planeswalkers from Zendikar Rising? Yeah, I think they're neat designs. I think the Jace will probably see play. I would be surprised if the Nahiri is powerful enough. Alright, one of your finest sweepers, please. Whale poop. Is it Cataracts? Yeah, maybe that's better. I don't know. I'm not expecting to untap with Golos. Onward, upward, backward, forward. To game the 3rd. I mean, like, they have main deck of Braid, though, Time Lord, and they're certainly going to have more Cage Answers post-board. Yeah. Like I said, I think the reason to get the Bog there is we're unlikely to untap with the Golos, and if we do untap with the Golos, we're probably okay anyways, because they're no longer attacking if I'm keeping Golos in play. It's a good draw. Needed something like that to not get Thoughtseize again this turn. He said, optimistically. Alright, that's also a good pickup. Looking for just an untapped land next turn. Scale of 1 to dead. Where's this Murderous Rider at? Solidly on the dead side of the scale. Got it? Going to 15 here. Untapped land, Pharaoh. Untapped land. Not Bojuka Bog, dealer.
I am Karn.
Two lands. Two lands. This is where the magic happens. They have Shock in their deck still. Looking to fade Shock here so they can't kill Karn on the untap. Looking to fade Bedevil.
Please stop.
Please stop.
The choices we make reveal who we are.
My sequencing is wrong here. If they have an Abrade, I gave them a target. Oh, I should do this during their upkeep to play around this, to make their mana less efficient. So, two secret... Well, I guess if I'm doing it on their upkeep, I don't play around Abrade. So they get to Luris, replay something here, but I have the Murderous Rider and they know about it. That's unfortunate, because now they get to kill my Karn, so I don't get either of these back. Hey, thanks for the 22 months, and yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for the tier 3, welcome back. What if they're gonna breed our Mastermind Tome here? Oh, right. Probably want to take my Murderous Rider, I'd assume. I guess they might take Golos, fearing Bog. Makes sense. Okay, they have Luris here, so we're not done yet, but we have a game, as they say. Looking for lands. Perfect. So I can Murderous Rider this Luris and then draw a card with Mastermind Tome. Mazemind Tome, whatever it's called. They have Thoughtseize and Duress in here, which can take these away. So we're hoping to find like another Languish here, which I only have one more of. Cry doesn't deal with this. Third Murderous Rider would be decent. Second one's on the bottom. Yeah, Cage would be a decent pickup. We have Cage in our deck right now. Oh, Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so they're getting aggressive. Alright, we faded Kroxa. Step 1. Can we fade Kroxa in these cards? Here's a question. This card giving us 4 life's about to be really relevant too. That's rude. Had to open my mouth. Okay. Alright. Bojuka Bog. Oh, you know what? This ramps when I have 4... No, I need 5 swamps, right? Yeah, so, okay, so I made a mistake. I should have fielded them first. I'm gonna field them, because it gives me swamp 4. And then this will be swamp 5, which means I'll be able to cast Ugin next turn, right? 6, yeah, because this will let me ramp once. So, my sequencing was wrong there, because I technically gave them an extra card in the bin. So, like, they have 1 extra card towards escaping an Uro that I didn't need to leave them. Is it good for you, opponent? It's good for me. I got there.
Consider this a warning.
Whoop! Little bit late, opponent. Teensy bits late. Okay. Alright, we have a game. Waiting for that sweet, sweet card advantage off the top, he says, as he draws a card. Dang it, Bobby. This didn't activate the Stronghold. I should have 1 extra mana.
I will not lose another friend.
Alright, so I just caged the elephant here, right? So, I should have been able to hold up Murderous Rider this turn if I had activated Stronghold.
Stand down.
Yeah, Golos gets Cataracts, and then we have 2 sources of card advantage in play, right? Nah, not at all, Ruler Dude. Threatening to alt Ugin is very real. Spin. 2. Win.
Evil cannot withstand a righteous army.
It's garbage time. You don't have to go home, but you can't play here. Do 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 do. Monster Can Mike, thank you for the 7 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. The wubs give me life, chat. The wubs, they give me the life.
I battle for the forces of good. I will rid you of your corruption.
Our opponent is a trooper, chat. They are 94% and they are not giving up. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around or concede to what you're doing now. You can't ever win. I'm gonna get this platinum angel. Never gonna win, never gonna win. Do do do. Do 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 do. Pew pew pew. Ivo, thanks for the 15 months, by the way. Welcome back. We're just rubbing it in now, aren't we? My opponent's allowed to concede at any point. If anything, my opponent's the one being rude by not conceding when they can no longer win the game. So I'm allowed to sing and gloat all we want. They can mercy rule themselves at any point, chat. We should bring it. We should get Citadel and hit them with it. Hello? That's true. Maybe being destroyed by Golos is their kink. Don't judge them, chat. Got me. Oh no, not a braid. This format's not too bad when we play decks that are playable. I probably just need to get more restrictive again with the decks I was accepting. When Field of the Dead was legal, there was a pretty wide range of things that could be competitive, but just gotta narrow it up a little bit. Start rejecting mid-range things more aggressively is the big deal. Which is a little sad, because mid-range is mostly what people send in, but it is what it is. Controller, aggro are the things that you need to be doing in this format. I would, in fact, like to gain 1 life. Thank you for asking, opponent. Listen, chat, I didn't even shock myself to cast that Thoughtseize off of Shockland. Their hand is actually quite bad for reference. Like, there's no creature threat. It should definitely be a mulligan on their part. Yeah, I think if you're not trying to play like a mid-range deck, this format seems reasonable. I just needed to readjust my expectations is basically what it comes down to. I was expecting to be able to do the same types of things I was doing when Field was legal, and that's just not the case anymore. That's been really reasonable. Because Field was such a one-minded deck that, like, it was very easy to take a viewer submission and, like, change it enough that it could be competitive against Field. Whereas, like, these various control decks have just so many things going on in them that, like, that's just not feasible with them anymore. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8. We'll play Ugin next turn. Maybe because I have Ugin in hand, I'm just supposed to hold the Languish there. I'd take 1 more. I don't know. It feels like every point counts. So, like, trading my Languish for 1 life seems reasonable. I'm in danger. All right, so we're at a virtual 2 because of Ramanap runes.
But do not ignore my draconic talent.
And we're dead. Erebos intervention. This matchup's got to be abysmal, right? I feel like if the ladder was more competitive than it is, decks like this would probably struggle. Like, I definitely feel like in proportion to its power level, mono red is super underrepresented on the ladder. Like, I think in proportion to the amount that it sees play, mono red is not heavily played. Or the power level of it to the portion it sees play is not accurate. Red decks can't beat Uro. I don't think that's true. Also, like, my experience playing on the ladder is like, there aren't even that many, like, there's always a lot of garbage, right? Like, there's a lot of people that only play Magic for fun, believe it or not. So, like, they're just like, there's always people showing up with Grixis control regardless of how playable it is. And Grixis control is arguably more playable right now than it's been in a really long time. I think I'm keeping Karn here. Yeah, it's either Karn or Golos. I think it's Karn. So I think I Mazemind Tome here because it lets me scry one twice. And if I find an untapped land next turn, I can Mind Stone into Moment of Craving, which would be ideal. Really, someone earlier had asked about Mazemind Tome versus Treasure Map. This is a good example of a game where Mazemind Tome is just much better. Like, being able to scry without paying mana here is huge. And the fact that Mazemind Tome is going to gain us life eventually is also a very big deal. Alright, I'd like to cry them a river this turn, ideally.
Let us make good choice.
I think I need to work towards my lands here. Like, if I make the blocker, there's a good chance it dies and then they kill the Karn. And this is my source of Karn advantage right now. I feel like I need Karn advantage to win this game. Yeah, especially this. They're attacking Karn here. Yeah, exactly. And cause I'm at a virtual 19 with the Mazemind Tome here, right? I think I'm actually in for that. think I just pass here and see what they do inside of combat. Hoping to fade Whirly Boy here. Our mana definitely a scotch awkward with a lot of colorless sources here. That's great, Hosted. I think I play this out and just start working towards flipping it. If we can flip this, Karn, Scion of Urza makes really large blockers. When this transforms, it makes 3 treasure tokens, which are all artifacts. It's a very good draw for them. At least these are still 1 power things, so we got that going for us. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 2 turns off of happening. I think that's fine, actually, right? Yeah, so we can go Mind Stone, Karn, and activate Treasure Map. No, I have Ugin guaranteed next turn. So I get to double activate Treasure Map. And we can make him off treasures. Alright, that was the easy game, chat. That was the one where we're on the play. Easy game. I think I keep this with Mazemind on 2. This gain 4 and looking for a sweeper could be enough to save us. Just random shitheads simping for Wizards of the Coast. It's so annoying. I should block more people. Hey, looking for a cry or a moment of craving? Erebos' intervention. That'll do, pig. Alright, so I think I'd rather gain an extra life than play a Mind Stone this turn, so I think we just put that into play tapped and pass. The other thing, God, people just make me so mad because they're so stupid. Just like the number, like, I was dumb and I mentioned, I'm just fucking deleting the tweet because I'm just so sick of Magic the Gathering players. Magic players make me hate Magic more than anything Wizards can do. I generally don't delete tweets, but they're just so stupid. The number of times where, like, I bring up, hey, we should have rotation happen more often, and people are like, well, then my cards are legal for less time, because they're so fucking smooth-brained, stupid people, they can't comprehend that you could have rotation twice a year and not have your cards be legal for less time. It's unfathomable. Just like unreal, because that's the thing everybody goes right to. Well, if rotation happens more often, my cards are legal for less time. And no, it doesn't. In fact, if you have rotation happen more often, you could have your cards legal for more time if you could, like, take half a second and, like, think about the words that are about to spew out of your mouth. Like, it's so endlessly frustrating. Like, the number of people who don't understand that, like, under the current rotation system, there are 2 sets that are only legal for 15 and 18 months, and if you rotated everything twice a year, you could have everything legal for 21 or 24 months. Like, I don't, like, it's so lazy. It's so lazy. I don't... And that's the other thing too, like, what people don't get, in a perfect world, what would I do for rotation? I don't know, but I would fucking try. I wouldn't just keep doing what we do now, where we constantly have problems with Standard and expect it to be okay. Like, the biggest problem with Wizards, in my opinion, is their failure to give a shit and try. Like, I don't expect them to get it right, but I want them to experiment, right? Like, I just want them to, like, okay, this isn't working, this doesn't seem ideal, let's try something else. Let's just give a little bit of effort, and, like, okay, like, for example, last time, they tried twice a year rotation, and they implemented it poorly, and it wasn't well received, and instead of trying other stuff, they scurried back under their rock and just rolled it back to what it was before, and it's like, well, you tried to change it from what it was before for a reason, so maybe instead of being like, well, this didn't work, let's try something else. Especially, and this is why they're so slow to react. Like, with Magic Arena, it is the perfect opportunity for them to be able to try different things and see how they work and get so much more data than if they were just trying it in paper. Yeah, it's just like the fact that, like, they just quit and they give up. It's so lazy. They're so scared to innovate. They're the boomers of card games, right? They're the OG, and they don't want to rock the boat. They just want to keep the status quo and keep the money tree printing money, and they're worried that any little change could hurt the money tree. I don't know. I haven't deleted a tweet in a long time, but I just deleted the last tweet about rotation because I just, like, the people responding it are making me it's just like, The way in which people engage with and accept the status quo and stick up for wizards, it's very frustrating. They just can't wrap their heads around, maybe we could do this better. Literally less than a year, J-Ray. Literally less than a year. And then there's the correlation versus causation. Like, they had rotation different for this very short amount of time. And during that very short amount of time, standard also wasn't healthy, right? So, like, they took it not being successful. They took standard being bad to mean people were upset with rotation, when in reality, I think there's a very good chance that just, like, their format sucked, and it just happened to be that they tried their different rotation cycle when their format sucked. Bog you, go. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think they did a good job separating that out. Let's draw here to get a little bit better info about what we want to discard. I think it's Mind Stone, and I'm gonna like play this Karn next turn, find a land, and then we'll play this Karn, get a cage the turn after. And I don't think I need Tormod's Crypt yet. Hello, girls. We talked about people that make me angry, the idiots on Twitter. How about the people that make me happy? Hi, girl.
Yeah, Dad, we heard you yelling. We thought you could use a baby girl.
Oh, you're precious. You got all these colors of hearts on your onesie? Oh.
Head control. Okay.
Little bubbly. Who's a cutie? Haley's a cutie. Do I want to scry one here? I don't think so. I don't really need anything in particular. And I might want to draw 2 cards with this. I'm like, my life total isn't under duress at the moment. I think I'm going to grab the Ugin so I have it for later guaranteed. She does have my hairline. We'll grow out of that, I promise. We'll go. We'll cage the elephant here. Tiny. You tell chat you're huge, baby girl. I got a lot of percentiles, chat. Hey, sounds good, Forgotten Glory. Thank you for the very generous tier 3, and I appreciate the 22 months. Welcome back.
Dad, you want to support my body, please?
All right, I'm going to give you your mother. I got click. All right, now I think we're scrying, because I would like to find a Languish.
There, now we in the camera. Now he's in the camera.
Basically bottoming anything that's not a Languish here.
Tell them say thank you for the bidding.
Thanks, Cody. I think I'm just gonna draw to gain 4 here as well. Could grab Golos to ramp. That's a thought. I think I'm just gonna Mind Stone. Make a thing.
My grief fuels my mission.
Grab Golos for next turn. Hey, Cody, thanks for the sub gift. I appreciate it. Gwah. They're so adorable when they talk at that age, Jev. Make like cooing sounds, basically. If we top deck a land, we can Ugin, right? Yeah, I think that's right. 4, 6, 7, yep. So again, Thoughtseize out, Moment of Craving, Cry in, board in a couple of cages. Last time we trimmed a Lantern and a map. I think I like that game plan. Yeah, I kept one cage in the sideboard. We have 3 cages. It's great, Wargy. The fact that you don't have to have Chromatic Lantern is really, really excellent. Yeah, our 3x Ugin deck is really good against mid-range. Decks like what we're currently playing are part of the reason why mid-range struggles to be playable in this format. Our archetype is incredibly favored against various mid-range decks. Just gonna bend the Lantern here. I'm gonna prioritize drawing cards with this, I think. Wait, did they board out their companion? Right? They didn't put it in their hand this game. I wonder what they boarded in. I just noticed that. What three mana permanent specifically could they want, right? Yeah, maybe some kind of Planeswalker to try and outgrind these control decks. That could definitely be the case. I think that would probably make the most sense. Rotting Regisaur. Okay. Sure. Ooh, should have drawn last turn, huh? I agree that this seems questionable against somebody that's heavily interactive, but, you know, if the matchup's bad, sometimes you gotta take risks. Angelic, thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. 6. So I'm going to scry at my upkeep here so I can try and find a land. So I can Erebos' Intervention this. Alright, that can stay right there. I think I get Bog, because I think there's a good chance they have ways to interact with Cage. And if they find one of those, I can't beat these Croxes. Yeah, if I brick on the land next turn for Ugin, I can just Intervention this and still be fine. Yeah, we just take the hit here. Sure. I'm gonna kill this during their upkeep, so that way they can't draw a card with Castle. Or they can, and then they lose it. Oh, I missed one because of Cabal Stronghold. Tilt. Should have gained 8. You got me. So, Cascading Cataracts, one of our better draws. Any sorts of card advantage is a decent draw. Oh, you know what? I should probably hold a swamp in my hand for Croxa insurance so I can keep the Languish through that. Or I should just play the Languish out, one of the two. This is why we fetched Bog. Do you want to Thoughtseize my 1 mystery card? Duress is smart. Yep, like it. Two spells. Rats. So if they draw with Castle here, they're dead to an attack. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him here. Well, poop. I think Veto or Dispute is better in this format. I don't know. Ugin would be nice. Alright, so we gotta fade another one of their burn spells. I'm doing this so I don't die to claim the firstborn. That's a lie. I still die to claim the firstborn. They claim one, they flashback claim the other. I think this is still right, though. It puts another lethal threat into play. Oh, keep a spell in hand to not die to Kroxa. That's a good thought. Yeah, I think you're right. I messed that up. That'll do, pig. That was really close, actually. Their plan was interesting. So, we've played a bit of Red-Black Pyromancer on stream, and I feel like that last game there kind of showed why... To talk about a deck that's not this one for a second, I think if you're a Red-Black Pyromancer fan, if you didn't watch this set, I think being a more aggressive-focused Red-Black Pyromancer deck is a better place to be. And that last opponent kind of boarded in to something kind of like this, only instead of using Knight of the Ebon Legion, they were using Rotting Regisaur, which gave up their graveyard. As far as this is concerned, this felt super reasonable. What are my thoughts here? I think Karn, the Great Creator, and this card in general is really kind of a testament in this current format to how good Grafdigger's Cage is. Like, I've seen a lot of deck lists posted from very good Magic players that, like, have main deck Grafdigger's Cages. And, I think Karn, the Great Creator, is kind of a really sweet middle ground to that, right? Like, it's a main deck Cage without making you play main deck Cage. Yeah, and it incidentally, and the static text on Karn also is incidentally good, right? Like, I don't know that Citadel is necessarily one of the best decks in the format, but it's definitely something that sees play. There's Cat Oven decks running around, so like having this one-sided prison element that shuts off your opponent's artifacts is also super meaningful at different times. I was really impressed. So, like, a question that came up was Mazemind Tome versus Treasure Map. I think at a minimum, this split is correct. More Mazemind Tome, less Treasure Map. I kind of wonder after playing the games, though, like, is it necessary to have 12 or 10 artifacts here? Like, do I need these treasure maps? I guess the other question in my mind is, like, I don't really know what I would add to replace the treasure maps offhand, so maybe it's just fine to have them as filler. But the fact that Mazemind Tome could generate card advantage by paying mana to draw cards against blue-white, while also serving as a way to scry and gain life for minimal resource investment against aggro, was super, super decent. Honestly, I kind of wouldn't hate a third Golos in the deck. Like, maybe instead of the treasure maps, you just, like, play third Lantern, third Golos main deck. Like, I also wouldn't hate just having another land. I think, and this is something I mentioned, I think 25 lands is a little low in this deck. So yeah, maybe that would be my recommendation after playing. I would cut these maps, and I would go up to the fourth Golos, the 75 third main, and I'd play another land, whether it's another Castle Locthwain or Field of Ruin or just another swamp. I think that could be fine. I don't know that Mastermind's acquisition is necessarily overrated so much as that the utility of Karn being a prison element is useful in a lot of situations. I think would be my takeaway. I was definitely impressed with this card, though. This is a card that I haven't played a lot of games with, and it definitely was worth its weight there. All right, so what are we doing? So we're doing a second magic deck here today before we roll on to some Runeterra. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while I get everything set up and flipped over. When we get back, we are going to play some Blue-Green Collected Company. So be back in just a few. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.